Hello, my name is Lisha Liu, a doctoral student at Institute of Education, University of London. Today my presentation topic is an integrated model for taught master students' curricular engagement at English universities. Curriculum and student are the key components of the conception of students' curricular engagement. From the perspective of curriculum, compared with its European, Australian, and US counterparts, the UK taught master's programs retain a competitive edge because of their short, intensive, and well-organized features. However, previous studies have tended to examine the specific programs rather than investigate the curricula as a whole. From the perspective of student, taught master students have become the largest group of the UK postgraduate cohort, due to a strong surge in their total number in recent years. Nevertheless, the learning that occurs in the curricula of the middle bit seems to be comparatively overlooked in academic discussion. This presentation describes a study that seeks to investigate taught master students' curricular engagement at 3 English universities. It also identifies the areas where effort could be made to improve the engagement and the future taught master's program design. In this study, students' curricular engagement was initially conceptualized as a pattern structured by students' intellectual inquiry, practical inquiry, and emotional inquiry. The 3 forms of inquiry are based on Bloom's learning domains and were assumed to be interrelated. The pattern might also be influenced by some external factors from the curriculum, student, and pedagogical dimensions. In taught master's program learning context, which were labeled as taught mastersness, these internal and external mechanisms established a preliminary conceptual framework to guide the empirical stage of the study. Here are the journal research question and research methods. In order to answer the journal research question, in what ways do taught master students engage with the curricula in the context of English higher education? A mixed method research design was employed to capture students' perceptions and examine the relevant documents. 53 taught master students across several disciplines voluntarily participated in the study. They were from a single subject institute, a top research-intensive university, and a vocational-oriented university. Data was gathered via course handbooks, postgraduate taught experience survey result in 2010, conducted by the Higher Education Academy, and a questionnaire survey and sim-structure interviews within my empirical study with those students. The survey data was mainly processed through SPSS for statistical analysis. The interview transcripts were uploaded to the NVivo for thematic analysis. These 2 different analyses aim to test the conceptual framework by summarizing and interpreting students' narratives, and of course also improve and revise the initial conceptual framework. The content analysis of the course documents and PTES, the P-test results, was considered as a supplement to them. Overall, the central finding is that there were 2 routes, actually, according to students' perceptions. They engage with the curriculum in the 2 ways, namely the action route and the awareness route. The action route is an improvement of the initial conceptual framework, which includes students' inquiry preferences and interplay. That is mainly from the initial conceptual framework. Overall, most students thought that they were highly engaged with the taught master's curricula. In terms of the proportion that the 3 forms of inquiry occupy within the curriculum pattern, intellectual inquiry was ranked top by this group of students, followed by emotional inquiry and practical inquiry. It appears that students' emotional inquiry has become noticeable within their curricular engagement, which might be related to the degree of students' learning self-regulation. In addition, the three forms of inquiry in this engagement pattern have a relatively equal positive interplay, but the interplays between their respective subdimensions vary. You can see from the diagram here. At the same time, the morphographic features of the 53 students have little influence on these correlations. With evidence in some literature, I will argue that the formation of master's learner identity might be the common factor that promotes students' engagement with their curricula. There is also some evidence that, in the taught master's program learning context, taught master's curriculum features, students' prior learning experiences, and postgraduate pedagogical support from different types of universities have major impacts on the curricular engagement pattern. These impacts from the taught masterness are multifaceted, making the inquiry-based pattern constantly changing in reality. However, even if the inquiry-based pattern and its influence from the context constitute the action routes of student engagement, there is another route actually discovered gradually from my research into the engagement pattern, that is, the awareness route. The awareness route is gradually observed from the action route, which comprises three transferable statuses in students' understanding of the curriculum during the period of their master's program learning. You can see from the diagram there is a gap between students' perception of the curriculum. The gap might be a place full of various statuses, alignments, tensions, and conflicts. The tensions or conflicts may need to be reduced through paper provision of pre-course propaganda, legitimate formative assessment, and post-study guidance which consider students' needs. Here comes an integrated model of this engagement, which is a final conceptualization of this research. Overall, the two routes are interconnected and help students to form their master's learning identity. The action route is actually within the taught master program learning context, while the awareness route is embedded in the taught master program learning period. So one is based on space, another is based on time. They both together to form the taught master's learners' identities. So basically, the study creates a very nice model to explain, to interpret taught master students' engagement. The findings of the study might not be generalizable to all the taught master students due to the sample size. However, they provide 3 points that could be considered as the contributions of the study. Firstly, a taught master curricular engagement pattern focuses on student learning. Therefore, it in fact creates a micro-level theory in higher educational studies, which could provide useful support to the establishment of the micro-level policy or management, for example, and meso-level, for example, research or teaching dimensions or theories related to students. Second, this study identifies a missing part in curriculum design, a concern on students' emotional inquiry. It seems significant that this part needs to be paid attention in curriculum design. For example, what the curriculum designers can do is they can draft a section of the session names talking about how to motivate students in kind of emotional ways or approaches. Although there could be some practical barriers such as like the difficulty of articulating emotions, In this case, pedagogical communication with students that might be helpful to overcome these barriers. Thirdly, as I mentioned before, the findings suggest that the initial motivations, processes, and outcomes of students' actual understanding of the curriculum may be inconsistent with the aims and the content of the curriculum. Hence, a gap might exist in student perception of curriculum. These needs to be also paid attention to improve students' engagement. Okay, finally, that's the end of the presentation. Thank you very much listening for my presentation, and I hope you can actually give me some feedbacks or questions below. Thank you.